Fans are in utter amazement after Yandy and Mendeecees' romance took a terrible turn. They're following close friends, and most definitely, Mendeecees himself did not anticipate this after learning of Mendeecees' alleged affair. Yandy's otherwise uneventful day descended into a full-fledged nightmare, and she did not take it lightly. Yandy's response was heated, according to sources, but things became much more bizarre when an unplanned altercation occurred in these. That was a public event. Tension was already building, but when Yandy finally met MC in person, it ended with a thunderous slap that went viral online. Even onlookers halted in disbelief because the moment was so dramatic. Who is the woman responsible for this affair, though? That is the true question. What specifically was said by MC that made Yandy lose it? This story is about to take some unexpected turns, so fasten your seatbelt. A breakdown of every delicious element of this love scandal is about to happen, so stay tuned. There was so much tension in the air that a knife could cut through it. It began as a typical evening, swiftly descending into a violent altercation that nobody, particularly MC, had anticipated. Yandy had always handled things with poise, but everything changed when she learned of the gossip about her spouse. She initially dismissed it as just another online rumor. More experienced people always sought out ways to undermine them and create drama where none existed. It was different this time, though. It wasn't just random internet trolls whispering. People close to them were making these claims, those who wouldn't make things up. Then the bomb was dropped. A video was shared with Yandy by a close friend she trusted. It was a blurry, obviously distant video. The individuals in it were easily identifiable. He was with a woman who was obviously not Yandy, and he was too near and too at ease. She replayed the video, her hand shaking as she caught new details that made her stomach turn. His hand lingered on the woman's waist. He was laughing and chuckling a little too loudly. It wasn't just a friendly exchange, it was private. That was incorrect. Yandy felt anger rising inside her, causing her chest to constrict. After all that they had endured, after all that she had given up for him, she had supported him through the most trying periods and been there for him when everything seemed to be against him, and this is his way of paying her back? Although usually impetuous, this was an exception. In order to get answers, she needed them immediately. She picked up her phone without even thinking and dialed Mendeecees. Rang once, twice, then nothing. Her jaw tightened as she gripped the phone more tightly. Was she being ignored? Or worse, was that woman still with him? Resolute, she grabbed her keys and bounded from the house. There was no way she was going to wait for an explanation. If he didn't answer, she would go look for him on her own. When she finally reached the lounge where MC had been last seen, her anger had grown into a full-fledged tempest. Everyone was silent as soon as she entered. Individuals pulled out their phones and nudged their friends in whispers. They were aware that a disaster was imminent. Suddenly, he was there. MC sat at the back, oblivious to the cyclone approaching and occupying the same seat as him, the female in the video. Yandy felt a surge of rage. She did not think, she just approached them with a march. Yandy's voice pierced the atmosphere like a dagger before MC could even comprehend what was occurring. "This is what you have been doing?" His eyes grew bigger. "Don't you dare act confused," she said. "Yo, Yandy, the video was shown to me. I saw everything." There was silence throughout the whole room. The drama that was developing in the room began to take center stage, and even the music seemed to fade into the background. Mooting uneasily, MC looked around as though seeking a way out. "It's not what it appears to be, darling," MC said. Yandy laughed resentfully. "Oh, yeah? Since your wife is at home, assuming you're working. It appears like you're out here getting cozy with a random woman." Suddenly, the woman next to MC looked anxious and shifted in her seat. Yandy scowled at the unidentified woman and stated, "Perhaps you ought to tell her about it." "All right, please explain why my spouse is sitting here with you as if you two are a couple." The lady parted her lips, but couple came out, trying to keep herself composed. Yandy inhaled deeply, but her anger was exploding. What do you know? Even an exclamation is not necessary. Before anyone could respond, whatever whispers remained were silenced by a hard slap that reverberated across the room. MC staggered back, clutching his face in disbelief. It never occurred to him that Yandy might strike him. People watching, with phones recording from every side, gasped. And that's when things started to go wrong. MC sat up straight, his jaw hanging as he looked around and saw that everyone in the room was staring at him. Despite the obvious embarrassment on his face, Yandy wasn't done yet. "You stood there and told me lies," she spat out. "And in our house. After everything I've done for you, I'm standing here in front of everyone looking like a complete idiot." Trying not to lose his temper, MC raised his hands. "Keep your voice down, Yandy. It's not a place to do this here." "Oh, you're concerned about appearances now? You weren't concerned about anything else before. See why you pretended to be unattached?" People began to whisper more loudly around them, and some even burst out laughing at the way MC was being criticized. "I wasn't pretending to be single," he protested, rubbing his cheek. "You've got everything wrong." Yandy's eyes squinted. "Oh, you mean next you'll describe the video?" She squinted, waiting for an explanation for his presence with obvious discomfort at the scenario. The woman at the table shifted once again. She grabbed her pocketbook as though she were going to flee, murmuring, "Listen, I don't want to be involved in this drama." She turned to Yandy. "Yes, dear, you are involved. It was perfectly acceptable for you to sit here with my husband in this manner, but now you refuse to participate in the drama?" With his patience growing thin, MC let out a sharp exhale. "Enough, Yandy. You're causing a stir." Yandy raised her hands. "Oh, Yandy is in trouble when you choose to publicly insult me. You've created trouble." MC's frustration was becoming increasingly evident. He scratched his temples. "This is not what you think. I told you, could we just—" "No," Yandy interrupted. "Right now, you just speak anything. It's imperative that you begin speaking as quickly as possible." There was an oppressive level of tension in the room, so thick it was sure to move. Nobody was willing to talk. They had been waiting, anticipating MC's next move. He took a decision that everyone found shocking. In an attempt to restore control, MC took a deep breath while keeping his hands on the table. He felt cornered by the weight of all the eyes in the room. His cheek was still stinging from the slap. He noticed that people were obviously enjoying the show, grinning and whispering. After being publicly humiliated by Yandy, he could not allow this to go any worse. As his thoughts appeared, he paused and opened his stomach, which twisted. "Vanessa, are you okay? I witnessed what had transpired previously. Do you need to speak?" MC rubbed his temples. He really did not want to respond. Instead, he simply locked his phone and tossed it onto the couch. Before he did anything else, he wanted to get his thoughts straight. Yandy, meanwhile, was grasping the steering wheel of her automobile as it sat parked outside a peaceful cafe. She was angry. Despite her want to believe him, she knew something wasn't quite right. Taking out her phone, she scrolled and browsed the texts once more. Her suspicion was heightened by the fact that the unidentified sender had not answered her follow-up inquiries. Was this a random troll attempting to cause a stir, or was this something genuine? She ran her fingertips over the Kimball call button. She hesitated. Before pressing it, however, a notification appeared. A video had been delivered to her. Clicking on it made her heart race. The distant video was grainy, but it was sufficiently clear. MC sat in a darkened lounge, leaning against Vanessa. Their body language conveyed intimacy, even though they weren't touching. Yandy was infuriated by Vanessa's head tilt and MC's quick glances around, as if to check if anyone was observing. She listened to it again, just once, twice, 3 times, until a tear struck her phone screen. She was unaware that she was sobbing. This was no ordinary business meeting. His appearance was at ease, too familiar, and before Vanessa caught him, he didn't even disclose seeing her. That was it. She took a big breath, wiped away her tears. No more interrogations. Forget about second-guessing. Tonight, she was going to get the answers she needed. Yandy's hands were so tight on the wheel that her knuckles were white as she drove home. An eternity passed between each red light. She was shivering when she finally pulled into the driveway. MC was pacing the living room when she entered. As soon as she did, she said nothing at all. She simply took her phone out, tapped the screen, and raised it. The film started playing. The face of MC turned pale. "From where?" he whispered. Yandy's voice was icy. "It doesn't matter who sent it. The fact that it's real is important." MC did not respond. "You're taking something out of context. Vanessa and I were just conversing, as I mentioned. That is all." Yandy stepped closer and laughed bitterly. "Do you think I'm a fool? That what's in front of me is just context?" She wiped her face with her palms and groaned. "Yandy, could you? What do you mean?" Her voice was bitter. "Will you please disregard the fact that I have been misled by my husband? That behind my back you've been..." MC clenched his jaw. "I haven't been anything. I wanted to handle this in secret before it became an issue, so I must." Yandy jerked her head back before she started to hack into his excuses. Frustrated, MC rubbed his hands over his head. "Yandy, I didn't have sex with her. I promise you. I didn't tell you about some issues, though." Yandy felt her heart pound in her chest. "Oh, you want to be honest now?" MC inhaled deeply. "Vanessa, she was someone I knew long ago prior to you. Recently, she called me and claimed to have something. She intended to make it public." Yandy's eyes grew wide. "What?" MC went on. "I didn't want you to live this way. My goal was to meet with her, find out what the devil she was talking about, and end the conversation before it got out of hand." Yandy's breath had become labored. "You think I'll believe that?" "Yandy, I don't expect you to believe anything," he added, raising his voice at last. "Before you assume the worst, I expect you to at least listen to me." Yandy lowered her head and exhaled a trembling breath. "You know what's absurd? I wish I believed you, but something like this occurs each and every time I trust you. All of them unmarried time." MC moved closer to grab her hand, but she slapped him back. She then slapped him again without hesitation. Both of them were stunned into stillness as the roar reverberated around the room. MC's eyes, black with something unreadable, and his jaw tensed. He gently turned his head back to her. Yandy's hands were still shaking, and her chest was rising and falling quickly. "That was not her intention," she whispered, but it wasn't until it was too late that she even realized what she had done. The air was heavy with quiet. MC lowered his voice and swallowed. "Are you finished?" Yandy blinked quickly, her tension scattered. I understand." He interrupted, his voice uncannily serene. "You're in pain. You're upset. Additionally, you have every right to be." Yandy finished, her eyes filled with tears. "You touched me." He interrupted once more, saying, "I didn't mean to, but you did. It's not cool." Yandy took deep, trembling breaths while covering her face with her hands. She muttered, "I don't know what to do anymore." MC took a step back. "Perhaps we need room. Perhaps we need time to determine whether we still want this." Yandy's head jerked upward. "Are you telling the truth after all that we've endured?" MC let out a sigh. "Yandy, you are loved. However, this isn't healthy." She wiped at her tears. "Yandy, that's it. Just leave for a long time." MC gazed at her, his face unreadable. "Sure," he said. Then the entire weight of everything fell on top of them. They were no longer sure of their positions, and the scariest thing of all was that everything they had battled for and everything they had built was suddenly under jeopardy. Can Yandy and MC truly recover from this? They've experienced love, betrayal, positions on chances. What are your thoughts? Was Yandy correct to approach MC in that manner? Did he deserve the slap for hiding secrets, or was it excessive? Is there more to this than he's revealing? Or do you think his account regarding Vanessa is truthful? We need to hear your opinions, so please share them in the comments section below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and enable notifications if you want to be informed of every development in this bizarre story. You don't want to miss the next action. If you're a member of Team Yandy, please like below. If you're still riding with MC, please explain why. In any case, this tale is far from over. This is not just another update. This is a fight for Lil Scrappy's life. The next 24 hours are crucial and every prayer counts. If you believe in the power of support, drop a comment below and share your thoughts with the world. Let's send our strength to Scrappy and his family during this incredibly tough time. For all the latest updates on this shocking situation, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll bring you every twist and turn as the story unfolds. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep Scrappy in your thoughts.